Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Sotos, and I'm founder of a law firm in Canada, and I'm here as co-president of the Hellenic Initiative Canada, which is a charity that raises money tax efficiently in Canada and spends it on philanthropic activities in Greece. I'd like to introduce Karine Asselin. She is a lawyer by training as well. She is a career diplomat, having served in both Europe and the Americas. She is the current ambassador of Canada to Greece and the High Commissioner of Canada to Cyprus since November 2022. Madam Ambassador, I want to welcome you to this very timely discussion on Greece and Canada relations following the historic visit of Prime Minister Mitsotakis to Canada in conjunction with the recent Greek Independence Day activities in both Toronto and Montreal, which house or contain the largest Greek-Canadian population. They're the largest Greek-Canadian population centers. The visit was historic in that it was the first by a Greek Prime Minister to Canada in 41 years. The Hellenic Initiative Canada was proud to play a leadership role in the invitation in the hosting of a very successful event in honor of his visit. To give you an idea, we sold 1,200 tickets in 4 hours when the visit was announced. And that gives you an idea of the level of interest that exists in Canada towards Greece. Canada is the second largest non-EU investor in Greece, with signature investments from companies like Eldorado Gold, Fairfax Financial, which owns Eurobank and a number of other assets in Greece, the Public Service Pension, which is the largest, I believe is now the controlling shareholder of the Athens Airport facility, CAE, which does pilot training in Greece in conjunction with Aegean. Historic high-level meetings should serve as a catalyst for broader and deeper relations. Madam Ambassador, how do you see the future between those relations, and do you think that the recent visit will spur further activity and further investments between the two countries?
Kalispera sas, good afternoon, bon après-midi. It's a real pleasure to be here at the Delphi Forum, and I should say the success of the forum has also permeated Canada to bring it to Toronto as the Toronto Economic Forum. So allow me, if you may, Mr. Sotos, John, to speak a little bit about the Prime Minister's visit, because we are really at very exciting times. You alluded to the fact that these high-level visits are instrumental in also gathering and supporting the connections at the trade and investment level. And in fact, I have to say we're very grateful and pleased that Prime Minister Mitsotakis has chosen to invest in the relationship, resolutely in the relationship with Canada by visiting, accompanied by quite a high-level delegation. He was there from the 22nd to the 25th, just 2 weeks ago, with Minister Karameos, with Minister Papathanasis, Deputy Minister Papadopoulou and Koutsiras, and quite a large delegation. So that indicates to us the level of interest and willingness also to not only, and I think the objectives of the visit were very successfully met, because clearly one of which you mentioned, you alluded to, is clearly the connection and the engagement with the Greek diaspora in Canada, which is close to 300,000 Greek Canadians. And it's a very vibrant and active and successful diaspora that, to us in Canada, has helped build a very strong economic, the environment that we have. And so just to mention a few elements of that visit and to address your question as to what does it look like for the future. So we've seen this engagement of the diaspora, the openness and the encouragement to the diaspora to getting engaged in EU elections with now the facilitated voting processes, but also an outreach to the business community and more specifically key investors, some of which have were willing and courageous to bet on Greece at a time of, during the crisis.
Nobody else was.
Of course. But that have really believed and continue, of course, to believe now. This is something that came out very firmly from the visit. The very strong kudos that our Prime Minister and the business community have given to Prime Minister Mitsotakis for the economic stability and the turnaround of the Greek economy that now attracts more and more investors and business partnerships. And so one of the key deliverables and landmarks of the visit was this also the trade context. And one of the areas that was achieved is that Greece, as part of other EU countries, has concluded with Canada an agreement for the purchase of 7 de Havilland airplanes, which are the famous Canadair water bombers in its new generation, the DH-515. And this firms up the partnership that we have to work also hand in hand with Greece to address the very serious effects of climate change. And so I'll just mention one more aspect, which is engaging this very vibrant business community, investors, and partnerships that are already existent. Both prime ministers also celebrated and recalled the very positive and beneficial impacts of CETA, the free trade agreement with Canada, EU, in which the provisional application has led to close to double the trade both ways, exports from Greece to Canada, and in fact, more than quadrupled feta exports to Canada, which is notable. So maybe I'll stop there and happy to continue.
That's great. Thank you, Ambassador. In addition to the inbound investment from Canada to Greece, a side effect of this bilateral activity seems to have been some investment going the other direction from Greece to Canada. The Mytilineos Group announced or has made a close to $2 billion investment in photovoltaic farms in Western Canada. And I'm wondering whether you think there might be more of that taking place, particularly in light of the fact that climate change is impacting both countries perversely in almost the same way. And of course, sustainable energy is something that Greece has been a leader of in terms of
renewable.
Yeah, the on the renewable side. Canada, on the other side, has been a leader in nuclear energy, and Canada has renewed its commitment to more nuclear energy. It has been diversified a bit with smaller reactors as opposed to the massive they used to build in the past. So what do you see coming out of this shared interest by both countries in renewables and climate change?
Yes. So indeed, you mentioned the number of Canadian investors such as Fairfax, Eldorado Gold, PSP, and even new ones, very recent ones. And Canada is close to $6 billion of investment in Greece. And now we see also the very positive trend the other way with Mytilineos Holdings, who's investing $1.7 billion in Alberta for photovoltaic and solar energy. And people tend to forget that Canada is also a energy powerhouse. We're a bit of a, this is really a sector that we excel in, having hydro, gas, and of course nuclear, as you mentioned, and much more. So there is definitely potential in terms of, and we have a number of also credit systems to promote investment in renewable energy. And so just as Greece is attracting investments, Canada as well, and there is this potential, and Prime Minister Mitsotakis during his visit was speaking to a very targeted audience of investors, and really the potential to continue to grow that relationship. And I should say as well, you know, the capacity to grow is also linked to the fact that we have a very strong diaspora, many of which are engaged in the business world sector and wish to continue to promote these exchanges. I can mention, and sorry, also your question on climate change and environment. This is very much an area with which Canada is engaged with Greece. Particularly, I talked about the Canadair airplanes, the Bombardier, which, you know, the iconic yellow-red plane is very well known in the skies of Greece, sadly, because of the mega fires that the country has known, and Canada has also. Last summer, we were both very strongly, victims of the impact of those fires. And so not only do we have, you know, the older generations of planes, now new ones to come, but Canada is also working to train. We are active in professional training for managers of the civil protection and climate crisis ministry with a pilot project with the Niarchos Foundation. And we hope to be able to do more, because we think that we can work together, being two countries that have put at the very top of our agenda addressing climate change, mitigation and adaptation as well. This was very much a theme of both of our prime ministers as they were discussing. And maybe one more point, Canada is also just installed a new center of excellence on environment and security in Montreal. This is a NATO Center of Excellence, and Greece has been an early sponsor of this initiative, and in fact has a deputy director position for research and wants to work closely with Canada on this. So this again demonstrates the very like-mindedness of priorities of our government.
Great, thank you. Well, in addition to investments in tangible goods or businesses, there's also the intangible investment of maybe 300,000 visitors from Canada to Greece every year, who tend to be high spenders, and that probably accounts for another $1.5 to $2 billion in inflows to the Greek economy. Just want to shift gears a little bit and talk about Greece's geopolitical significance, given its location in the Eastern Mediterranean and what is going on there, and of course the war in Ukraine. And how does Canada view Greece from that perspective?
Yes, well, I mean, obviously, we see Greece as a very like-minded, very influential partner with which we have shared values and shared interests. So, for example, you mentioned, you know, we're two NATO partners. Canada views itself, and our Prime Minister likes to say, as one of the countries that is, you know, as European, as for a non-European country, we have very similar values. And in fact, when we speak about, you know, engaging in these discussions, if we look at Ukraine, we see Greece as a very like-minded and very useful partner in, you know, standing steadfast in support of Ukraine, and you know, has made a commitment to the reconstruction of Ukraine. And in fact, very recently, we're also understanding that there is a plan for further equipment, assistance, etc. So, you know, Canada's obviously a country that has worked and continues to, you know, provide significant support to Ukraine. In the Middle East, I believe that, you know, sadly, the crisis that also occupies us, we have very similar positions. And in fact, when we have conversations about these geopolitical issues, we have a benefit as Canada to hear the vision of the, you know, the Greek government, and a country that's very much engaged in the region with the various partners in this crisis. And so, just you mentioned also the importance of tourism, of the influx of Canadians to Greece, which is growing very much this year, picking up and increasing even further than before post-COVID. And it's due in part, well, obviously because of the very strength of this country in tourism and the diaspora as well. But this, speaking about tourism, is an area that we want to continue growing. There is very much interest in from the Greek government, but also from our side, because we can learn from each other in terms of ecotourism, you know, various questions of tourism that is friendly to LGBTQ. I believe it's an area as well that Greece is looking at. So we hope to be strengthening this field as we move forward in our relationship.
Great. Thank you, Ambassador. We have less than 5 minutes remaining. I want to move very quickly to the last point I want you to address, and that is the cultural and educational ties between the two countries and how they can contribute to mutual collaboration.
So in terms of cultural ties, I mean, clearly the history of early Greek settlers in the 19th century being, you know, coming to Montreal and then elsewhere in Canada. And you mentioned cultural and educational as well. We have MOUs on education collaboration and exchanges between a number of our universities. But I would also stress perhaps the importance of, in the education field, sorry, if you could just add what, more specifically what you...
How the educational interrelationships can further... Yeah.
Of course. Well, perhaps just to mention one point is that we would welcome more Greek students to Canada. There are these existing agreements, but still we're not maybe receiving as many Greek students as we could, and I think that we would welcome that. But still, in very important niche areas, we have a Canadian institute in Greece, which Jacques Perrault, an eminent professor, also has a research chair in archaeology and brings students every year to Greece to participate in his research. And we want to foster more of that. And I think through the Hellenic initiative, the Hellenic initiative has fostered also scholarships for Greek students to go study in Canada, and the other way around also exists. And so we want to continue to build on that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Last but not least, I want to mention the Toronto Economic Forum, which was, basically founded by the Hellenic Initiative with the very strong organizational support of the Delphi Economic Forum. And the third edition of that is taking place this October 21st in Toronto, with a possibility that we may do a second half day in Montreal. So I think it could provide, that has already provided opportunities for business-to-business exchanges. And how do you think that this particular initiative can help broaden economic exchanges on the business-to-business level.
Yes, clearly, I think we're privileged to have the engagement of the Delphi Forum in Canada. Now, this year will be the third edition. Last year, I participated and was very impressed to see the strength and the ties and the number and the quality of the partners in the various sectors whereas venture capital, mining, tourism, film industry, you know, there is so much possibilities, and the engagement of existing partners, but as well new ones. I think it will only grow the capacity of our relationship to continue to flourish. And in fact, I mentioned that this morning as we discussed with Minister Papathanasis, but you know, he engages every year, now is seen as one of the champions of the forum in Canada. And we have now our Minister of Innovation, Champagne, who's now tied to the forum. And I think that this also is, you know, serves as a catalyst for the relationship. And if I may mention, we, following on the very successful visit of Prime Minister Mitsotakis to Canada, we are expecting a visit now of our Minister of Foreign Affairs very soon this spring to follow up and to continue to deepen these discussions. And perhaps just to mention, not to forget that as like-minded partners, we are more and more discussing public policy and best practices in various topics that interest both of our countries. You know, we had conversations with Minister Keridis, for example, on migration and asylum, Canada being, in his view, in his words, a model country for integration of migrants. And we have now, we're expecting also visits from our ambassador for women, peace and security in the fall, as we look forward for Greece to take on, we hope, a seat on the Security Council, and this women, peace and security is very much is a theme. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that on gender equality, we just listened to Minister Zaharaki just before. Canada wants to be a partner and wants to work very closely with Greece, and we're talking about an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding on gender equality as well. And so we want to be partners and to share best practices in this field as well. So the possibilities are endless.
That's terrific. Thank you, Ambassador, for updating us on what's going on. And thank you also for being very active. You've been to Canada more often than I've been to Greece, which is terrific, and you keep doing it. So we're out of time, but I do want to thank you for making the time to be with us and discuss the subjects that is very close to the Hellenic Initiative.
Thank you.
And to the Delphi Forum as well.
Thank you. And just one last word to thank you, John Sotos, our co-president of the Hellenic Initiative, and also colleagues in the room. I am absolutely privileged to be able to work with the Hellenic Initiative, and Canada is privileged to build this relationship with Greece with all of you. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much.